Welcome to my Lupus living room. My name is Suzanne Tierney, and I am the CEO and president of the Lupus Foundation of America's Great Ohio chapter. I too have lupus, and nothing excites me more than talking and sharing with other people, especially my fellow Lupians, to learn their story and about their journey. And today we have Melissa Fogan from Marion, Ohio. And I'm so excited to finally meet you. We've never met before, and to learn all about your journey. And one thing for sure I can tell you, Melissa, is we learn a lot from each other. Okay. And if we can support each other and gain wisdom from each other, it's a tremendous value. And I can tell you, one of the reasons I do what I do is building a lupus community is important to me, because when I started off on my journey, it was really a miserable, lonely journey. And today it doesn't have to be. So, Melissa, this is your moment of fame. Are you bashful?
Yes.
Me too.
I
People
I
don't believe it when I say I'm bashful, and it's like, well, you know, I'm comfortable talking about lupus, but usually in a crowd, I'm the one sitting in the corner. So, Melissa,
I'm
tell me about you. You have lupus. You're from Marion, Ohio, and I have to tell you, most of us Clevelanders forget how many rural cities we have in Ohio. So, tell us exactly where Marion is, and give us your your commercial all about you. You have free reigns here. What do you want people to know?
well, that's Marion is actually north of Columbus. So it's about an hour from Columbus. It's not too bad, but um it's a kind of a boring town to be honest. um I definitely I myself have lupus, cutaneous lupus, and some other um diagnoses, unfortunately. Um Back in, I would say about 20, I've always been sick, sickly growing up, high fevers, joint pain, headaches, that kind of thing. But I didn't actually start seeing a doctor until I was an adult. Um, about 2013 or so, I went to see my doctor and asked her for some help, and she said pretty much that I have depression and anxiety. I have to go see a psychiatrist. So I waited a little bit longer and then went back and asked to be seen by her nurse practitioner. And she heard me out. She was wonderful, and she still is. She did some lab work, and it came back positive. I have a positive ANA, and my blood counts were low. I was anemic, all sorts of things. So she referred me to rheumatology in Columbus, which they were wonderful. Um, right after I had my youngest son, around 2008 is when everything really started. Um, I started really getting sick. But when I went to the rheumatologist in Columbus, he first diagnosed me with connective tissue disease until he did some more lab work and stuff and a skin biopsy and that kind of thing. And um, then he diagnosed me in 2014 with lupus. That's a start.
Start.
um,
You and I have a lot of similarities here. Okay. It was after my first child. Well, first of all, I've always been sick, like you. I've always been sick. Okay. First, I was diagnosed with, along the journey, I too was with connective tissue disease. And after my first child, Sabrina, is when I had the worst time of all. That's finally when they gave us the diagnosis. But you have cutaneous, you have lupus of the skin as well.
yes, I do.
I can't see it. Let me see you closer to me.
well, well, there's some patches of skin that I have. People call lizard skin. It's really hard to see on my arm and on my
Mm-hmm.
back, and then I have a bald spot starting on my head as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really controlled. It's controlled a little bit more by Opzelura, a ointment that my doctor now prescribed for me, and it really helps out a lot. They've tried different. My dermatologist, he prescribed several different ointments for the skin lupus, and nothing really worked. But Opzelura seems to be the number one magic ointment, I guess, but or cream.
I can't tell, do you have that little red raised
Yeah,
rash, the butterfly rash above your face?
yeah,
And
it's starting again. Um, going out in the
And
sun for any period amount of time, it really affects me. It makes me
right,
feel
that
pretty
was
sick.
my next question. Do you spend any time in the sun? Or you're really limiting that?
I do limit it. I do go out with to like I like to do car shows and that kind of thing, and
Oh, me
um,
too.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, my
Um,
husband has the 64 GTO.
oh wow, my
Yeah.
fiance actually has a couple cars. He's going to put in a Studebaker this weekend,
Okay.
and he has a Skylark. I'm not sure the years, don't hold me to
Mhm.
that, but he's going to enter those, and we're going to go to one here in Marion on Saturday.
Right.
And then we have one at the end of the month coming up with the Autism Car Show in Delaware that we're going to
Yeah.
attend.
We have one in North Royalton over here coming up, and one at a nursing home down the street. They do a huge one there. And I can't, you get Melissa, you're going to have to do a better job supporting your honey. Okay. You need to know the years of those cars. All right.
I
That's
do.
you
You're
really
right.
need to plug into that. But we find it, it's a something we can do together because I'm sure this has happened to you. We can't do the things we used to do a lot because of
Mhm.
limitations. The shows we typically go to are evening shows because the sun is our enemy. Okay. But that's
I
nice
agree.
that you have a support system and that you're able to find something that you can do together. I think that's great. You did mention though that you suffer from depression and anxiety. Do you mind talking about that and sharing that because it's a topic I think it's so important and very few people talk about it.
It's hard to talk about sometimes. I grew up, not to tell too much of my personal stuff, but in an abusive home and an abusive relationship with my ex-husband. And a lot of my depression goes back to that. You know,
Mhm.
he used to say things like, "You're not sick. You're, you know, pretty much." I lose my train of thought too. Um,
Hypochondriac. Are you a
hypochondriac. Yes,
hypochondriac?
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not.
So
I'm just saying most of the time they say
yeah,
that. Yeah.
that's what he said. So I had to deal with that for quite a few years, and then of course both of my boys, my youngest son has lupus, and my
Oh,
oldest has Sjogren's. And I he didn't want to join today. They're both autistic, and so they're pretty nervous and kind of shy as well. But I do have a picture. My youngest son in the red has lupus, and then my
wow.
oldest son has Sjogren's syndrome.
Wow. So
So
Sjogren's, so that's interesting. And
yes,
what about you? Is there anybody in your family when you were growing up?
not that
Like
I'm aware of.
aunts, grandparents.
I don't know
Yeah.
too much about my family history. On my dad's side, I know him and my uncle both have some muscle issues, or my dad
Mm.
did, but my uncle has some muscle problems, and I know it's autoimmune related, but I'm not sure if they had any, if they was diagnosed with lupus or not. But so it's
Wow.
kind of a very interesting case.
Well, yeah, so I can find rabbit trails all over here for me, okay? I'm intrigued about well, first of all, you suffer from depression and anxiety. A lot of our fellow Lupians are depressed and we have anxiety, okay? But you rose and was able to get help. Most of
Hmm.
our fellow Lupians have so much resistance when it comes to mental health therapy, okay? I had to go through mental health therapy and it brought me back to a real world. And I
Hmm.
don't know why everybody's so resistant about getting help because it will change their lives. I don't think it's
Yeah.
a weak person that asks for help. I think it's the strong person. And I wish that if you're listening and you suffer from depression or you find yourself blue or you're thinking hopelessly or you're just always down, please seek help. Okay. Start with a psychologist. Sometimes you just need to set someone, share whatever your pain is or your misery is, and hopefully they can get you on the right track to recovery. Because I think that a lot of us can be helped. I think many of us, your situation maybe was a little bit differently, or maybe it just added to it on top of the sickness, but I think most of the time we mourn our old selves,
That's
or
my
we
problem.
miss being normal,
Mhm.
or what if this didn't happen? I mean, there's so many would have, could haves, and would haves, but I can tell you that it changed my life. Okay. And I hopefully it's changed yours and given you a better quality of life. Sometimes talking to a non-biased person is helpful. I know a lot of people like to give things to their sisters or their husbands or their wife, but we're just taking our pain and problems, passing it to someone who doesn't have the skill set to help us. So,
Mhm.
and then they have a burden. They're carrying this burden. So, if you're suffering from depression, I would encourage you to reach out to a professional or perhaps tell your family doctor, because I think help is on the horizon for you and you will have a better quality of life. But let's talk about your son. Are we allowed to talk about
Yeah.
he's camera
He's
shy today, and that's okay. How old is he and what is his name?
um he's 17 now, and his name is Griffin.
Griffin.
He was he was diagnosed at the age of 7.
Wow. Who made the diagnosis
Um, his rheumatologist at Children's,
at
he was
Children's?
pretty sick. Yes, he was pretty sick growing up as well. He had seizures, before the age of 1. When we did go to he loves the water, so I would get him pool passes to, the pool here in Marion, and, his face would break out in really swollen red rash, and, he always complained about, well, he cried a lot, so his legs hurting and, his arms hurting, and he has headaches and that kind of thing. So, um, I finally got him into his pediatrician, and he did some lab work, and it came back, actually a higher positive, ANA than myself, and, he was referred, and his white blood counts were down, and pretty much similar, pretty similar to my stuff. That's how I knew that something was wrong. Um, so he was referred to rheumatology, and they did some more lab work, and he was definitely diagnosed. Unfortunately, he's had a
Wow.
pretty hard time. He's had a pretty hard time understanding why he doesn't feel good most of the time. So, um, on my part, it's heartbreaking. I kind of pass it about down to both of my kids. That's part of my depression comes from that as well, that I gave
I
them
I,
a
I
ton of
could
illness.
see that. I could
Yeah,
see that as a mother because I have that concern with my son Bill. So my son Bill's like 6'7". Okay. And all through his young life, he complained about his legs, his legs, his legs. And he's as white as a lily could be. And the sun is his enemy. But
yeah,
he's been tested a couple times, and thank the Lord that he doesn't have it. And I hope that he never has it. Um, but then your other son has Sjogren's. So for
yeah,
people who don't understand what Sjogren's is, well, let me take a step back. First of all, usually when you have an autoimmune disease, you just don't usually have that disease. A lot of times you have its, I call them brothers and sisters, and it could be diseases like Raynaud's or
mhm,
Sjogren's or thyroid disease. But usually there's multiple autoimmune diseases that come along with lupus. Usually, when you have lupus, you just don't have lupus. Okay.
right.
You get these other problems that come along, and each one of them are treated differently. So that could lead to another issue because now you're seeing multiple doctors from multiple treatment plans, and it does become frustrating.
It
So
really
your
does.
son is 17, no kidney involvement, right? His
Not that
kidneys
I'm
are
aware
fine.
of.
His kidneys
Well,
are
he
fine.
just recently, there's been protein and ketones found in his urine, so
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we'll find out more about that later on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he does have a lot
That
of GI problems. He goes in for an endoscopy with EndoFlip next 2 weeks, I believe,
ooh,
in a couple weeks. He has dysphagia issues. He chokes
mhm.
just on his saliva when he's eating, drinking. He's lost a significant amount of weight, so um, they're going to do the endoscopy with the endoflip and see what's going on. Um,
There's another
he's probably-
disease called scleroderma. I don't know if you've heard of that.
yes, I
We
have.
actually have a staffer that has a combination of all these. Okay,
Um,
and but she is living, and she's been with me for over 25 years,
That's
And
wonderful.
so the good news is this stuff doesn't kill us. Okay. Uh, it does make the life a little bit more challenging, but with the right care and compliance, and with medicine changing as quickly as it is, he can look for better tomorrow. When I was 27, they told me I was going to die from lupus, and I sat around and waited for 2 years. And I'm 73 now, I think. So, God has a plan for all of us.
Cool.
You have good years, you have bad years. I've had years where my autoimmune issues have gone into complete remission, and then it's been back. So you do see a series of ups and downs, and then I know people who've had one episode and never heard from them again. They're doing great. But back to Griffin, um, I was 9 when I got sick. Okay, so he was 7. I missed a whole year of school, actually. I spent the whole year in the hospital, and I have an identical twin,
Oh,
and
wow.
my twin is healthy. So we were always a year apart in school, which made things even more complicated as a twin. People used to go, they couldn't remember our names. They just knew we looked alike and we were the Valeni twins. Okay. And they would say to me, "Are you the sick twin?" And it would just like rip my heart right out. So I was labeled the sick twin all through high school, all through school. But I was a sick kid and survived in a time when they didn't know what I had. I was misdiagnosed for 19 years. So he's in a better place than I am right now. And
Yeah.
I'm real hopeful. If he was at Children's, where is he at now? Because he's 17. He might still be there, right?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Good hands. Great
Hmm.
hands. We got some of the best hospitals in Ohio. We really do. And are you being treated at Ohio State? Where are you at?
I'm actually being referred to the lupus clinic at Ohio State. So yes,
At Ohio State. Again,
I'll be seeing them in a couple months.
you're in great hands. And Alex is going to shoot me. He would know his name. Maybe he can shout it in here. But one of the doctors over at Ohio State has been named to the National Board's Medical Advisory Board as the chairman of the board for the Lupus Foundation of America on a national level. And we're real excited about sharing Ohio doctors. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, it's all good stuff. And so Griffin today should be in high school, right? He's in high
Yes,
school.
yes.
Does he do any sports or have any interest? How's he doing?
He will be doing, he's going to try. The sun really affects him as well. So um, in the fall, he's going to hopefully try to get into basketball with the Marion County Board of DD
Hmm.
for the Special Olympics.
Mm,
Griffin has
nice.
autism as well. So yeah, they're setting him up where he can play. He'll be able to play basketball. They know his limitations, and what's nice about the Special Olympics is, there's a variety of kids with
Sure, sure.
all kinds of things. So
Yeah,
it's going to
little
be good for
challenge, but they can do it. They can do it. We all have a place in the world.
him. Hmm.
It's interesting. The Columbus Walk just ended. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's not often that you see males, although they do get it. And there's a couple things going on here. One, we think it's really a hormonal disease, but men still get it. All right. And usually when they get it, unfortunately, they get it a little worse than we do. The other thing is they don't share, they're not as open as women are. So we don't see them often or we don't hear from them often. But what's interesting is at the Columbus Walk, it was a small group, and there was a gentleman and a little
Well,
boy, probably 7. And I didn't get his name, and I'm looking for him. Okay, I'm looking for him because I remember being that child and being scared and lonely and constantly going back and forth to the doctor and not being able to do things other kids did. I would love, if he's watching or his mom's watching, I would love to have a conversation with her and her child. And I'd love to hear from Griffin too. Tell Griffin not to be so bashful. For whatever reason, he has this challenge, and what can he do? What can he say that other people that might be like him that he has to share? And again, my goal is to build a lupus community, a safe place where we can come together, talk about it, And honest, I'm embarrassed to say I don't have any programs in Marion, Ohio. We do have some online where you can call in, or we're going to have some virtual summits. Um, but boy, he could be a poster child and make a difference in the world if he'd like to talk and share when he's ready. When he's
Yeah,
ready. Okay.
I'll talk to him about that.
Yeah. So
Real quick, Suzanne, can you hear me?
I can.
It's Dr. Brad Rovin
Yes.
is the doctor that was named. He is the chair of the Medical Scientific Advisory Council for the LFA now.
Oh, nationally. So he is
Hmm.
from Ohio State. So
Hmm.
you have some great doctors down there, and I'm thrilled that you do, there and that you have the ability to go to them. Because I keep thinking about rural Ohio, how a lot of them can't get to these doctors, and
Hmm.
wondering what they're doing and how they're being cared for. That does concern me. So, all right, are you working or are you a stay-at-home mom? Tell me about your world. What do you do?
Well, unfortunately, I cannot work. I haven't been able to for quite a few years. That's part of my depression as well. I used
Mm-hmm.
to work with children. I used to work at daycare centers. The Goddard School in Powell was my last one,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. I met a lot of great kids, and I miss being a teacher. That's for sure.
I'll, I'll bet.
So being home is kind of it's hard on me, but I try to find things to do. I scrapbook. I
Oh,
like to scrapbook and make a scrapbook
nice.
for each of my boys so they have something one day when I'm not here. Um, and then I love, of course, my car shows and um, I try to hang out with the boys as much as I can.
Yeah,
They're teenagers, so they
that's a full-time job itself. I'm so once my kids got married, I was like praising the Lord. Thank you, hallelujah. Get them all out of here. Now it's
like.
somebody else. Somebody else can take care. They can take care of each other. Oh
I'm
Lord.
really, I'm a very protective mom, so I stay on top of them constantly to make sure they're doing okay, or
Hmm.
if they don't feel good, they let me know. So I have to make their appointments, of course, get their medications, make sure they're
Sure.
eating okay. And it's I'm one of those moms that want them home all the time.
That's
I don't
okay.
care yeah.
I'm a
It's-
control freak myself, or a helicopter mom. Even my kids are big and old still, and I'm still a control freak. I'm sure they'll tell you that. But I got good kids, and the one thing about being a sick mom, because I did used to feel terribly guilty about being a sick mom. Okay, because I couldn't do what all the other moms did. But what the outcome of that was my kids always volunteered for the organization. Okay, as long as I can remember. But what came out of it is I have some pretty really compassionate kids, which you don't see a lot of compassionate kids today. There's a lot of bullies, there's a lot of people with I don't cares, but
mhm,
I have to say that was the plus that came out of it. I have compassionate, giving children.
that's
So it's not
wonderful.
all a bad picture. Okay, there's some good that does come out of this stuff. So you're coming to the walk. I'm
Yes, I am this
excited.
weekend. Yes, I'm definitely
And
going to that one. I'm pretty excited. My
yeah, and
fans,
is
my
your
fiance
son
with it.
coming? Is
I'm
Griffin?
I'm hoping he will. I know my fiance and I will both be there, and I'm trying to get him to come as well. Um,
Mhm.
it's hard for him to walk for a long period of time, like
Oh,
it,
okay.
as
So
I
if
understand
and
completely,
yeah,
but
I'm not going to walk. So listen. The walk, everybody wants to do these walks. Pretty much every charity has a walk, okay? And when you say that to people, especially when you're doing a 5K or a 3K, lupus patients look at you and go, "Why would I walk? Why would I walk in the sun?" Okay. Well, you're not going to walk in the
exactly.
snow, and we try not to have you in the sun. But I have to tell you, in Ohio, we have limited time and good weather here. So it is in September. We're hoping it's going to be a cool breeze off the lake. It's by the lake.
Okay.
And I do a small walk. And when I say small, trust me, it's very small. I think I go around the building. We call it a butterfly stroll. And people follow me, or they continue on to do the bigger walk. Or you can be an angel in the crowd and just sit back and watch it all happen. Okay.
Mm,
We call it a walk. It is a walk, but really it's for you to bring your family and friends to be supportive of you. It is our largest fundraiser of the year, and it does create awareness at the same time. but most of all, it brings lupus patients together and they foster relationships. And I just get tickled pink when I see people, once a year I get to see them from all over Ohio. So the Cleveland Walk isn't just Cleveland. People come from the far east side, the west side. People still come from Columbus and Cincinnati.
Wow.
It's our largest event of the year, and it's just thrilling to get hugs from fellow Lupians that usually I see on Facebook, or they're poking me, texting me, or somehow or the other we're connecting. But he doesn't have to walk. Okay, there's benches there. He can sit down. He can sit by the lake and just watch the rest of us and join in some of the fun if he likes. Okay, so I would encourage him. As a patient, Marion, I'm sorry, Melissa, is there anything else that you would want to share to other lupus patients that you've gone through?
Um, I'm not sure. I've right now I'm in the process of getting my GI system checked out. I've had a lot of problems. I was recently diagnosed with dysautonomia. I do have Raynaud's,
Hmm.
um, and I was recently diagnosed with myasthenia gravis.
Oh.
I have a lot of diaphragm weakness, and it's
Hmm.
hard to breathe most days, but it's due to my muscles, of course. And it's definitely kind of a challenge. I look at things that I believe in God, of course, and I do pray
Hmm.
a lot, and I try to take one day at a time. Most days are hard, it really is, but I have like hypoglycemia issues, and my blood pressure drops pretty low, so
Hmm.
getting up daily is definitely a battle, and I have to push through it because now I have a wonderful family to, I have a good life, and I think of that. I think of those things daily instead of trying to dread on the depression part of it and the bad things that I have to deal with. I mean, I'm just grateful to wake up every day. I really am.
Amen. The first thing I do is say, "Thank you, Jesus. I got out of the bed." Okay. And I tell him the rest is up to you. That's what I tell him.
I agree
and,
with you on that.
uh, uh, and I tell my husband, it's like, we're not going to complain. We got up today. Some people didn't. So God's not done with
Exactly.
us. God's
My
not done with
fiance
it.
has actually been a very big supporter of all three of us. I mean, for myself, my and both of my boys. He's seriously the greatest, and I think he's helped me through a lot of this too the last couple years. But
Oh, that sounds like he's a wonderful blessing. See?
he really is. He
Yeah.
really is.
So, I love that you have the glass half full. Okay. Because many of us can look at it and say it's half empty because God knows you got a lot going on. Okay. Myasthenia gravis, that's another challenge. You mentioned like three or four other illnesses in the last second, like it just rolled off your sleeve like it's normal. All
It
right.
is.
So you kind of remind me of me. God knows I'm on, I don't know, 23, 27 pills a day, and I'm terrible about compliance. All right. Um, but you have a lot to live for, and you're being positive about it, and you have a future with your children and this young man who's your fiance, and you haven't stopped living. You're just living differently. We're just doing things
I really am.
differently. And the fact that, you're still going and you've got some mental health challenges, and God, I understand that, but you can still wake up and be thankful. So this is all great stuff. You're a wonderful lupus warrior. I can't wait to hear about your tomorrows, especially with Griffin and what's the other boy's name?
Dylan.
Dylan. So you have two boys,
Yes.
no
Hmm.
girls?
No
Two
girls.
boys. Two boys.
Two
Well,
boys.
ugh, God knows they're a handful, right? I have one boy and he's a handful. Um,
They're pretty
I
great, actually. I'm pretty blessed to have them both. They're both, like I said, have autism and then chronic illness on top of it. Kind of, it's a battle sometimes to,
Yeah,
or a challenge, I should say,
yeah.
to keep them up with their medications. And my oldest does really well. He takes his medications like he should, and
Hmm.
his he doesn't do too bad at all. My youngest, it's a struggle. He doesn't understand. He doesn't he doesn't understand why, most days, a few times a week, he just vomits. I mean, he just,
Mhm.
when he eats, he vomits, so it makes him not want to eat the next day. And so that's a really big challenge for him. And of course, he loves to ride his bike and be outside. And of
Sure.
course, the sun is his enemy. So he doesn't quite understand sometimes what, lupus is and how it affects him
Mhm.
and why he has it. So it's kind of that part on my part is depressing, but
Mhm.
I try to I try to think of ways to, not feel so depressed about it. I didn't sound like I intentionally gave it to them, but as a mom, you feel horrible because they have it
Sure.
and they struggle.
I wonder. I think as he gets older, he'll have a better understanding when he reaches the age of taking responsibility for his own health and well-being and his own wish list in life. Because I have to tell you, I didn't give a crap about any of it. And my twin was walking around always mad because I couldn't play with her, or couldn't be with her, or she was allowed to do things that I couldn't do. But it wasn't until my mother took me to a meeting at the Lupus Foundation when I was older, and I went kicking and screaming. I didn't want to hang out with those old sick people. Okay. And they asked for volunteers. She was sitting next to me. I'll never forget it. She raised my arm and they sucked me in. Okay. If I'd have thought that I would grow up to be a CEO of a nonprofit health organization, trust me, that wasn't on my radar. All right. So who knows what God's plan is for you and your family? Okay, but as we get older, we get wiser, and I'll be interesting to be watching them to see their journey and what wonderful path they're going to lead us all into because they're boys full of energy, full of passion, and tomorrow's going to bring bigger blessings and better understanding and hopefully a cure, better treatments ultimately, you know. But I look forward to seeing you at the walk. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing with us. You're a super mom. You don't need to work. You got plenty of your job is huge right there, just managing all three of you with your health challenges. But you rise every day, and you just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job. You're beautiful. I can see you from here. You're gorgeous.
well, thank you.
Stay out of that sun. Keep doing what you're doing. And remember, when you get to the walk, to come and grab me. And also, remember, I have a twin, so remember you grab the right twin.
Well, hopefully I don't mess you guys up. My sister
I
at the moment is being tested as well
oh,
um, for an autoimmune disease. So she's she's I think she's in the depressive state sometimes, but she
mhm.
does well, and she works full time, so it's a big challenge for her. Right now, they have her diagnosed with fibromyalgia and Raynaud's, so it's a kind of
That's enough. I have both
yeah.
of those. It's enough. And speaking of that, I'm a little irritated. Well, this is going to sound bad, but I don't mean it bad. But for years, we thought Lady Gaga had lupus. Okay, she had lupus symptoms. She never came out and said she had it. Now I see her being a spokesperson for fibromyalgia. So a lot
Oh,
of lupus patients, it's like, God, we couldn't have a spokesperson for lupus, especially Lady Gaga. So I think she's their spokesperson because I've seen her in a couple advertisements. But most lupus patients have fibromyalgia. And I can
mhm.
distinguish the two different pains between my lupus and my fibromyalgia. And that's nothing to be taken. That is a very achy, sad, tiring, depressive disease. So I
Yeah.
wish her well. There are good treatments for fibromyalgia today. They've come along further ahead than I feel than they have with lupus. So, in the world we live in today, we're all getting something, unfortunately. So, it's hard to take care of us, but we're going to do the best we can. But for today, I say thank you. I look forward to seeing you at the walk. And for everyone that's watching, thank you for watching and visiting with me in my lupus living room and my guest, Melissa Fogan. And I hope that you all join us at the walk this September. And if you'd like to join us, please call Alex at 1-888-NO-LUPUS or www.lupusgreaterohio.org. And as always, the conversation we have is just a conversation. Your doctor is the best person to tell you how to treat your lupus. Y'all take care,
Mhm.
and I'll see you soon. Thanks for
Thank
joining my
you.
lupus living room. Bye bye.